You're watching Reaction Check.
Hello and welcome to Reaction Check. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Top 10 inspiring moments of Jallikattu protest, which is what we are going to react to today. Now, a lot of people asked me to do this reaction video. It was a highly requested, highly recommended video for me to actually watch this. Now, the thing is that this video was launched or was released on January 20, 2017. January 20 is the date of birth. This is my date of birth as well, and this really intrigued me because it has Jallikattu. Now, Jallikattu is an ancient sport that the Tamilians have practiced for a very long time, and Supreme Court has put some bans on it way back in 2011, 2012, which I am aware of. And I'm aware of the sport as well. Now, in fact, there's a book that a very famous writer, Ernest Hemingway, has written way back of his adventures in 1930s when he was in Spain. And the art of bullfighting is described there, where the bulls where the bulls end up getting killed by a sword. That was really a very cruel thing at that point in 1935. And as things progress, the rules change, and they were still allowed to actually perform the sport because it belonged to the Spanish people. The people of that particular area did not want to let it go, but they changed the rules in a way to adjust to the current environment, the current thinking of the people. Jallikattu, I'm not very sure what happened in this particular protest. Now, these are inspiring moments of Jallikattu protest. Now, I know for a fact that when a protest happens, a lot goes wrong. A lot of things go here and there. In Pakistan, a lot of protests have happened, and they weren't really peaceful. Now, I'm really curious to know what are these top 10 inspiring moments of Jallikattu protest. So let's watch this one and see what we have in it, and then we'll talk a little bit about what we saw in it.
A small student protest sparked off a worldwide movement. For 4 days in a row now, students from all over Tamil Nadu and Tamilians across the world are protesting against PETA and the ban on Jallikattu. They have gathered at various public places in their cities and are raising their voices against the ban. Irrespective of the sun shining down ruthlessly or the nights turning cold and windy, protesters have stayed on, showing their grit and determination. Today, Simply Chuma is listing out the top 10 inspiring and goosebump moments of the Jallikattu movement. Number 10. No crime reported. Thousands have gathered at public places across the state, but so far, not a case of chain snatching or pickpocketing has been reported. Number 9. Respect for religion. The protesters, who have been shouting slogans continuously, turned silent and respectful when their Muslim brothers did their namaz. Number 8. Faith in humanity restored. Despite demonetization and cash crunch, many people have come forward to extend their support in whatever form they can. While some are serving hot food, tea and water, others are supplying caps, blankets and hand fans to the protesters who have been sleeping on the beach and the roads. Seeing the increasing number of women and children joining the protest, people in the neighboring areas have announced that anyone is welcome into their home to use the restrooms.
Wow.
Number 7. Say no to political, cinema and media support.
Oh, that's interesting.
Initially, most of the political leaders and the ruling party refused to interfere as the ban involved the Supreme Court orders. Also, many actors from the Tamil film industry, who are also members of the NGO PETA, supported the ban on the sport. But on realizing that this ban has literally brought the state to a standstill, they have come forward extending their support. But the students have outright refused them. They sent the politicians back. Inadequate media coverage and misinterpretation of facts by the news channels has not discouraged them. They have also turned against their favorite actors who refuse to stand by what is right. Number 6. Women power. When we say students, we don't mean just the boys and men. Equal number of girls and women are a part of this movement. What is to be appreciated is that despite the crowd being huge, there has not been a single incident of eve teasing or harassment. In fact, many of these boys have turned protectors for the women supporters. The girls have also spent cold nights on the roads. Number 5. A mass movement without a leader. A mass movement, but no leader. It is not a killing sport. It is our culture, our tradition. We are not against the Supreme Court. We are fighting to safeguard our dwindling native breeds. We are raising our voice for our farmers. Ban PETA. We want Jallikattu. These are not the words of a single person. This is not the quote of a leader. This is what lakhs of students gathered at different places in Tamil Nadu have to say. For the first time in Tamil history, a movement has begun. A movement that was not started by any one particular leader or politician. It is the combined effort of the student community. Number 4. Student power to the fore. What started out as a social media campaign today has grown by leaps and bounds. When the central government refused to lift the ban on Jallikattu, a handful of students decided to start a silent protest. These few inspired thousands who in turn started their protest at the Marina Beach in Chennai and other important cities in Tamil Nadu. These students have been protesting for 4 days consecutively. Some have been raising slogans, some showing banners, while some have been fasting and will continue to do so until the ban is lifted. Number 3. People's Movement. This student movement has become a people's movement. Right from pregnant women, newborn babies, toddlers, small children, school and college students, office goers and senior citizens. People of Tamil Nadu, caste, religion, status, no bar, have been pouring in great numbers to these protests and are extending their support to the students. Inspired by them, factories, IT companies, private sector, businessmen and traders have now joined this movement. Currently, in Chennai, all roads lead to Marina. Number 2. Non-violent protest. This Jallikattu movement has gained national prominence, not just because of the growing number of participants, but because of the dignified manner in which the protest has been taking place. Peaceful and non-violent. There has been no damage to property, public or otherwise. So as not to trouble the travelers, students are themselves regulating the traffic. They have also been environmentally conscious by not littering the place. Many groups of student volunteers have been simultaneously conducting drives to clean up after the lakhs who are at the spot. A Herculean task, but undertaken happily.
Wow, that's
Number 1.
that's good.
Police public understanding. At the Marina in Chennai on the first night of the protest, in
There's
an effort
so
to
many
send them
people.
back home, the Tamil Nadu police switched off all the street lights and lamps at the beach. But the beach looked like the stars were shining on the earth and not the sky. Every single student had his mobile torch on. Candles were lit and the protest continued. It was a sight to behold. The students, understanding that the police are only following orders, extended a friendly hand to them. They shared the food and water that has been supplied to them. This selfless act has in turn encouraged a few policemen to come forward and support them openly, despite their jobs and uniforms being a deterrent. We strongly support this movement because Jallikattu is a part of our tradition and does not hurt animals, unlike PETA's claims. We urge you to understand the facts behind the sport and come forward in support in whatever way you can. This is truly one of the greatest social movements of recent times.
I have to give credit to the YouTube channel Simbli Chuma for producing such content. Now, like I mentioned, there was a book there that I read. In fact, I just finished reading that book, and I did not know that this video would be recommended. So it was really interesting to actually watch this video and think about what was in the book as well. And now there are a lot of similarities, but at the same time there are a lot of things that are very different than what was happening in Spain, and then what's happening here right now. Now there are some animal right groups who want to ban this because they feel that animals are being abused, and there are people who are saying that this is part of our culture and we would like to keep it alive, and we want the Supreme Court, or whatever the status happened after this, they wanted it to be there because it was part of their culture. Now, I'm not much of a Tamilian. I have not been there. I only know a few people who are very far away from Tamil Nadu, who are Malaysian Tamils, who may not even be concerned about what's happening there. Or what has happened there in 2017. But from what I know is from the videos that I've actually seen, the culture is very important. The language is very important. Anything that is part of the culture is very close and dear to the Tamilians, and they really want to keep it alive. Now, there must be a way to make sure that both the central government and the people of Tamil Nadu are satisfied, and in a way the rules are made or bent in a way that that benefits the animal rights group as well, and the people who are practicing it. There are a lot of things that a lot of people would say, with things like these, sometimes people are misinterpreted, and some of the news clippings or the news channels that I watched before watching this video were basically very balanced in their opinion about it. They had panelists from people who supported Jallikattu and people who did not support Jallikattu, and they had their own reason. And to be very honest, both had a weight to their argument, and whatever the thing is, it's left to the people to decide, and also the government of India to decide. But I think it's part of the culture, and it's part of a civilization has been going on for a very long time. It will be very, very hard to get rid of. If you were to ask me, what do I think? I think just like what happened in Spain, the rules were a little bit modified or changed in a way that the animals are not killed or not harmed in a way that they were before, and which continued the sport, which continued the tradition up until today, and is still being practiced in a lot of different countries, the art of bullfighting. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I thank you very much for watching this with me. Until next video, adios.